Well, one thing though that Jordan had shared last night, and this is something that I want to go over, especially something that I responded in regards to what he said. It's a little bit lengthy, but I'm still going to read it. So shout out to Jordan for talking through his journey with everybody. I think that this takes a phenomenal amount of courage, right? To just put yourself on the line and be honest with the community that is pretty much all going through the same journey. I think that watching Jordan go through this and anybody else that is honest with themselves in this community is going to just like completely blow through resistance once reached. Like trials and tribulations that you're going to experience if you talk through them like Jordan does is it's going to be like cutting through butter in the future. Um, he said, so I tilted Monday, losing about 3%, and I'm now almost halfway back through scaling. The fortunate thing is my buffer is so big that it now absorbs the tilt days and gives me a lot of time to reflect and go back to trading the strategy. So I'm going to start breaking this down and highlighting this piece by piece. And this kind of just, you can literally build a strategy off of this. Okay. So, first, what is something that I told you guys your main focus needs to be once you pass an Express account? It's not taking payouts, it's not trying to take the biggest trades to make the most amount of money. It is building a cushion, which is exactly why Jordan was able to lose 3% and scale back efficiently because he put both of his challenge accounts into, or sorry, excuse me, both of his funded accounts, $10,000 in profit each. So even though he lost 3% in a day, which I believe is about 1,500 bucks or something like that, or $2,000 on both of his accounts, it didn't affect him because he built a successful cushion. So when you get to your Express account phase, allow that mindset to kind of alleviate the pressure of feeling like you need to start to scale up to take a payout and start to think in terms of I need to scale up so that way when I have bad days, I can still keep my account. Because I'm going to tell you all right now, the bad days don't disappear at first, right? I know that I had a complete freaking blowout month for the month of June where I only lost one trade, but I still have days where I take big hits, like where I'll lose $2,000, $3,000 times my five accounts in one day. But because my cushions are so big, I can always bounce back from that, right? So focus on that. That is really great to see that Jordan was able to do that and not blow his funded accounts because he built himself a good cushion, right? To continue, it says, there's no fear in the trades that come after my tilt. In fact, I was ready to go into the next Asia session. Now I spent quite a bit of time reflecting on my own being, but a few things present themselves and how to trade with no fear after the tilts. One, the edge is not the problem, my emotions were. Understanding that allows me to process and integrate the tilt almost immediately because I'm not questioning my technical analysis anymore or the edge. I'm just questioning my state of mind. Next, there's no fear because after a tilt, by the way, is kind of just like a simplistic term for you reacted emotionally or irrationally to price action and made a whole bunch of stupid decisions, right? Um, there's no fear because after a tilt, there's literally zero things that I have to change with my strategy. It's merely going back to waiting for the edge to present itself and taking its time the same as always. The difference between tilting and scaling back up and tilting and then blowing the account is a state of mind, a process we must master in order to stay calm and logical. The game plan doesn't change. Your mind changed. Doubts, perhaps, hopelessness, and maybe even feelings of despair. But none of these are the edge. Now, most importantly, what I want to share that I made is a distinction and realized in past times after tilts, I always had this insane urge that I have to make it back. This was completely wrong. I want to pause right there. All right. This is probably the number one thing in trading that kills most people's either combine challenges or express accounts is thinking that after you take a loss, whether it's in the moment or the next day, that you have to come back and try to trade more to make the money back. As a matter of fact, a let's say hedge fund manager or a systemically important bank would actually take less risk after a big loss. So think about that. You don't want to increase your risk to try to make the money back that you lost. That is an emotional conflict that you have to think that you need to take on more risk to make the money back that you lost. Instead, you should prove to yourself that you have what it takes to mitigate that loss in case you continue based off of your emotional reactions, taking losses to make the money back. So that way, if you do take losses back to back to back, you don't blow through the remaining capital that you have to protect and preserve your accounts. All right. So start to incorporate that state of thinking into your long-term strategy by instantly saying to yourself, this one loss, this one bad week, this one bad day, this one bad trade does not make me who I am. It does not make me the trader that I want to become. Long-term zooming out, I am in this game for life. At least I know I am. I don't know about you guys. If you're not here for life, then I don't know what the heck. But I know that one bad day is not going to determine where I'm at 5 years from now. And what's going to determine where I'm at 5 years from now is proper risk management and being patient and waiting to execute trades with good risk to reward and good risk management the next time I involve myself in the market, right? Whereas an emotional trader that has no control over themselves, him or her, wants that gratification of making the money back that they lost right away. And if you start feeling like that, you have to be aware of it and you have to tame yourself. And it's going to be painful because it's going to be a natural human inclination to not want to feel the sting of taking a loss and then to want to get that dopamine hit back of having a win right after, right? Fight that urge. Because 9 times out of 10, what you're going to do after you take a loss instantly in the moment is try to scale back with more leverage or come back the next day and be like, fuck it. I'm just going to 10 contract this joint and wing it. And that is the wrong mindset. That is not going to get you to where you want to be in 2030 when everybody else in this community is winning because they fixed that mentality and you're still stuck thinking the wrong thing, right? The wrong approach. So we got to work on that. So that was good to see that Jordan has started to overcome that. That mentality will blow accounts as it will put pressure on you and create anxiety, restlessness, encouraging you to trade in spaces that should be instead sat out of. I have tilted 4 times on these funded accounts now and scaled out of each one, and each time I get better, both with tilting and both with the process and the state of mind after tilting. And I like this honesty because it shows that it doesn't matter if you become a profitable trader, you still have bad days. You still go through emotional shit. You still have personal problems that you have to deal with, and you still are going to have days where price action does not look clear to you. Scalper even himself has said that there's days where he was like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Right? So understand that confusion and emotions don't disappear after you become profitable. You just get better at managing them well. All right. The only thing on my mind after this most recent tilt was that I am trading the edge correctly, not money, not making anything back. But if it's there, I will take it and only if it's there. What I make in each trade after the tilt has zero meaning to me. That's another good thing to see, is that Jordan is starting to become emotionless when it comes to the money. When you start thinking about trading, not in terms of money, you start to know that you've mastered these markets correctly. I would say not mastering the markets, but mastering yourself. When you realize that the money is just a byproduct of rational thinking, of discipline, of trading the edge, of trading the confluences that we pay attention to in this community and nothing else, right? Then you start to realize, wow, this is going to become like drinking water over a prolonged period of time. The freedom in scaling back after a tilt and with ease and fear free comes from the focus of doing the right things. Who cares what you may think? Sorry, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Who cares what you make in the trades after? By sticking to the edge, you will inevitably scale back. So after a tilt or bad day, do not think that we have to make anything back. Instead, think, what is it that I need to do that is the right thing to do in order to keep trading and survive until the next trade? After one tilt, I even took another red day. By the day after, and yet still walked away, being patient, I scaled back. I felt I should share this with everyone. So this was great feedback, like A1 freaking feedback, so much that people could learn from this. All right. Another thing that I want to capitalize on is my response here. So I said, I think the biggest takeaway after a tilt is structuring your mind in such a way where you don't let one bad trade or one bad week define you. That for me personally was the biggest hurdle. I would take a loss and I would self-sabotage myself instantly, not giving myself any respect or credit for how far I had come in my journey. So that for me, whenever I would have bad trading days, was my biggest negative characteristic trait. I would freaking beat myself up. I would be like, you fucking suck. This is embarrassing. How could you lose? Not remembering that trading is like a business, and not every single day in business is a good day. Not every single day, if you own a business, is a profitable day. There are expenses. There are days where you get no customers. There are days where freaking, I don't know, some crazy thing might happen and take out a whole bunch of your infrastructure in one day. And you can't allow that to determine the long term or the longevity of your business. You have to continue to push through those days, through those experiences. It's the same thing in trading. If you think that every single day is going to be a win, you're instantly setting yourself up for failure. Instead, understand that failure and losses are part of the process and have the mindset of taking those days, internalizing them, even though that they suck, and using them as lessons to build better foundations and become a better trader and investor in these markets. All right. So I wanted to just share that feedback with you guys. If you didn't read that, then this was just a great share from one of our profitable traders in the community, and it just shows honesty in this space and what trading is really about. Not Lambos, hype, or freaking gold chains or all the bullshit flex that people put on the internet. This is what trading is really about. And Jordan is going to be a multi freaking millionaire one day, like 110%. This is the mindset of a multi millionaire, right? So if your mindset doesn't align with this right now with where you're at, again, do the inner work, do the shadow work, spend some time in the third eye psychology section, spend some time in the trading psychology section and the Discord, and start to gather more information to learn more about yourself. So that way you can have a similar mindset to Jordan here. All right. So, anyways, that's my spiel. I'll open the floor up if anybody has anything. If you guys want to sit, you want to trade talk for a little bit, you want to go over any trials and tribulations from this week. This is going to be our last Zoom call for the first week of July. Next week, we have important data and information to pay attention to. So I'll make sure that over the weekend, I chuck you guys out a good, solid fundamental report to do an overview on Sunday or Monday. We do have a holiday here in the United States over the weekend. So if you all are going to be participating in the July 4th environment, be safe. Don't be around any freaking recklessness, drunk driving, crazy fireworks, all that shit. Like that is behind us, right? It's if you participate in it, be aware of other people's actions and don't let other people's actions F up your vision and your goals and where you have aligned yourself to be. All right. But yeah, I'll leave the floor open if anybody has anything. And if not, I feel that was a good way to wrap up today's call.